Hello and welcome to this week's coffee vlog. It's Friday the 21st of August and it is 5:30. Not bad for me actually. Heading home. That's a big dog. Big dog. So yeah, it's been quite a hectic week to be honest. All very exciting, everything going on. Was it last weekend? The main thing was getting on with some more floor painting, which I did some on the Friday and then finished that off on the Saturday, so the smell would dissipate before Monday, which worked. And also I had the old kitchen unit with sink sat in the top of it to rip apart, take the sink off, take the taps off the sink, clean up the sink because it was a bit grotty. Took out all the old drain fitting from it, which is very, very grotty. Lots of coffee going down there over the years, which is not brilliant. So got rid of all that because I had a nice new drain plug and everything to fit in. So got rid of all of that, and yeah, my brain just had a sudden shutdown then. Got it all out, built up one of the brand new kitchen cabinets. Had to jigsaw a hole in one countertop for the sink, which went well. I followed a few guides. Put the sink on upside down where you want to have it, and then mask it off and pencil round, and then remember to do your centimetre in from where you've drawn to account for the little lip that's going to hold it in place. So that all went okay. This is getting on late Saturday, of course, by then. Started to put the sink back together again. Went to put my new lovely plug hole in, and it needed a 90mm hole in the base of the sink, and all I had was a 60mm hole in the sink I'd got. I'd never thought that there was different size diameters plug holes, but apparently there is. So that scuppered me for Saturday because the angle grinder was back at home, and I was going to have to angle grind a new hole. So we'll leave it there. I might do Mr. Ellis's words of wisdom just while I'm thinking about it. Let's see if we can find you, Mr. Ellis, because I sent him earlier on today, so he's going to be around a whole load of other things. Mr. Ellis, where are you hiding? Here we go. So, what does Mr. Ellis say? These things to talk about on your vlog. There are me as I've watched American Beauty starring Kevin Spacey and About Schmidt starring Jack Nicholson. Both good films, many, many, many years since I've watched either of those though. Me as I've been to Pugneys Country Park on Monday afternoon and Roundhay Park on Thursday afternoon. Sounds fun. Have you ever seen Stargate SG-1? Yes, it's quite good. We may hope Bob Bell will come back with his vlog soon as we miss them, but not too much as he's very busy with plumbing. Well, maybe. Do you ever go to Stacks in Morley as my dad does? I've been there before. I may go to Lightcliff Tea Rooms for lunch on Saturday afternoon. We'll have a few coffees and hot chocolates then, Richard, is all I'll say. Right, Mr. Ellis's words of wisdom done. I'm going to get rid of some parcels and then we'll be going home. See you in a minute. Okay, so back from clearing all those parcels. Did manage to get rid of them all as well, so that was quite good. So we're just on the way home now. All done. So yes, Sunday morning had an early start to get on with that sink, which I really wanted to do on the Saturday, but due to the angle grinder, had to wait till Sunday. So took the angle grinder with me, and fortunately there's kind of like a template in the metal anyway of the different positions. So it was fairly straightforward to just angle grind around the indent on the sink base to make the correct size hole for my new tidy plug. So got that done. You then attach all the taps, attach obviously the plug hole and everything. Silicone the underside of the sink around the edge of it to absolute death, so when I sat it in, it would all silicone nice to the countertop and would keep my new
K-band radar check speed.
cupboards nice. Don't want any water running in there like I had with the last one, but obviously the last one, the problem was mainly because I never actually put a countertop in the first place. But yes, I've got all that in, connected everything up, and yeah, it worked perfect. Lovely. No drips, taps on nice and tight. I found some nice rubber seals to go around each, because we have a hot and cold tap, which is one of those splitters with an adjuster, and then we've got like just a cold tap, which is quite a high and narrow one. It's a bit like a drinking water fountain tap, which is perfect for filling the kettle actually. So the hot and cold one we tend to just use for the hot water for washing up and things, and then the other one, because it's taller, it's got a taller reach on it, so you can get the kettle under easier. That's for the kettle. So having got all that in, then had to build up the second unit, because I was having 2 units, so I could then put on the other countertop. So I'd got just over 1 metre where the sink is, and then I'd got 1.5 metres, which was an old desktop that I'd cut to the right dimensions, and I cut that down so it was the same width as the other one, but 1.5 metres long, so it would give me a nice long stretch. I could have the 2 counters with a sort of gap between them, which might be putting a bin in there or something. I was going to decide on that. And then obviously the countertops, and they just meet up nicely next to each other, so sink, other countertops, and everything all nice and tidy. So got all that built up Sunday, put the doors together, put the handles on the doors, which is a bit of a trial because they don't give you any template markings now for the doors, so they can just go on any old ham. So I had to draw on some bits of card just how far down and across I was going to be put. Oh dear, someone appears to have crashed into something or someone. Oh yes, quite badly. So I seem to have managed that without making the handles too wonky, but you know, it just looks nicer. I got some nice brushed steel handles, a nice modern look. So I got them on, got the doors on, which went surprisingly easy. I always found kitchen doors are just such a pain because they never want to marry up together. They don't. They're always, you know, you've always got ones that are hanging a little bit higher than the other, or they don't want to close because they're clattering against each other, whatever. But these went pretty much okay, and they've got quite a nice soft shut feature. So as you let it go to shut, it gets so far, then it stops, and then it slowly pulls itself in after that, which is nice. And of course, because it's all nice and sealed and dry, it means the one with the sink above it can now be used to store all the cleaning materials and bits and pieces that were on a grotty old bench previously that was next to the grotty old sink. And then all the cups and other things can also be stored away, and we've got ample storage in the other unit for anything else we want to store. So it all in the end worked out quite well. I got the floor painting done, which I'd wanted to, just to keep that moisture from coming back up. Got all the sink unit replaced, got the new units in, moved the kettle from where it was in the little training room to this new countertop, and also moved the filter machine. But there was no plugs on that side, because he said he couldn't have plugs near the sink when the electrician put a load of sockets in around the other bench. So he just put in a single isolation switch high up, to the far left of the sink. So I had to hardwire both my filter machine and the kettle to that, which took a lot longer than I expected to do. It was a very fiddly job, to be honest. The kettle base is really narrow, there's not a lot of space in it, and I'd got a longer power cable.
Risk zone, speed limit,
but
30 miles
obviously
per hour.
it was a high load one, be from some coffee machine or other. I mean, kettle's a pretty high load anyway, but I mean the power cable the kettle had was tiny thin, really, for the amount of power it must use. So it was a bit of a struggle to fit that big thick cable in, but I managed it in the end. Connected that up with its little clamps to the connectors, and then similarly the filter machine was a bit fiddly inside to disconnect its power cable and then push in a new one. It would have been considerably easier just to cut the plugs off each of them and then do some sort of Scotch block affair or little disconnector 3-pin sockets or something. That I had any of those around to do that anyway, and I just thought it'd be a lot neater to get right in, and straight away, you know, you've got a single cable going from kettle and filter machine, and then running into this isolator switch. So got that all done finally on Sunday. Silicones, some of the edging and everything in, so it all looked pretty good. Quite pleased with it. So it was a long weekend though. It was a heck of a lot of work. So got all that done. Monday, just back to the usual really. Plenty of coffee orders and all different things going on. Bit of roasting. A lot of local customers came back, which is good again, but caught me out. I wasn't ready for a big influx of espresso coffee orders, so I was a bit short. I had to do a lot of roasting late Monday afternoon to fulfill all the orders that had popped up. But I got there.
K-band radar check.
Nippy him. Then the rest of the week's been, it's pretty busy, to be honest. We've still got a lot coming in. We've ordered a lot of green coffee to come in next week. And then Thursday, which was yesterday, I went to Thorn, just above Doncaster, to have a look at a powered sort of pallet truck, which is called a pallet stacker, which you sort of push along, but you can control. It moves under its own power, battery powered, and also it's got a lift mechanism on the front, so you can lift pallets off the side of a wagon or whatever, and bring them in the warehouse. So basically, because we're doing more green coffee than we ever had, and we're getting a lot of heavy pallets that are taking a lot of work to lug up the ramp and down it again. The theory was to get one of these to make life a lot easier, and also to help stack the coffee that we're storing. So it's it means what, like today, where I had 3 pallets of coffee, I've separated it up because I've stacked pallets on top of the half pallets of coffee, so it's all together. So those 3 then became 2 pallets, which leaves me more room for more to come in. And then moving forward, of course, we can get some pallet racking and then store pallets underneath that and on it as well. Just again, as we start holding more and more stock of green coffee, which we are doing, we're getting a lot of it in now. So so I had a look at that and play around in his warehouse yesterday. They've been in touch for about a week or so about different ones, and found this particular one which seemed to be in our budget. And so I went out to look at it, and yeah, was happy with it. So agreed the purchase, and it actually turned up today. I was really surprised, but it got 3 or 4 other forklifts and lifting devices due out today to Leeds and various places in a collection as well. So it was really handy because he was already booking a big trailer to do all those. Instead of paying a single amount from you know, from his place to ours for one truck to do that, he was paying for 5 drops on one truck, so it becomes a lot cheaper that way. So it worked out well. And yeah, so we've been learning to use it right. It's got a bit of a learning curve, I've got to admit. It's a big chunk and you don't realise, but there's a lot of weight in it before it even lifts anything. It's kind of obvious because it's got to have enough weight at the back end so that when you pick, it holds 600 kilos maximum, so when you're picking up 600 kilos at the front, you don't want it tipping forward really. So it's got to counterbalance that, of course, and that means there is a fair amount of weight to it. And then you're just getting used to the controls and moving the forks up and down to pick up pallets, and moving it around, and bearing in mind it's quite long and you don't want to crash the front of it into stuff as you're turning, because it's got quite a swing to it. So so yeah, we've been having a bit of a go with it, but it worked it out. It'll take a while just to get properly used to it. I had a bit of a do on the ramp, going down the ramp. I expected the motor to just hold it, so if it wasn't running it, the motor would hold it, but apparently no. It just goes down under its own weight. But you actually lift the handle up and forward to brake it. So once I'd got the hang of that braking mechanism, the hill was actually easy. You just use the handle to let the brake on and off and just edge it down very gently, and then it's no problem, as opposed to just trying to run it all the way down and it zooms down like a monster. Gave me a hell of a shock when I did that, but one of those little learning curve things, I suppose. So really, yeah, it's been pretty good. And whoa, Ellis, trying to kill me, or kill himself. Where's he going now? So I've also managed to roast today, probably in the region of 160 kilos of coffee, which is a heck of a lot of coffee. I've done 8 separate batches, which is a lot of coffee, a lot of roasting. It was all afternoon job, basically. So, yeah, big coffee roasting day, biggest single run I've done with a 30 kilo. But all good. So I packed some of that to leave today, but the rest of it I'll be packing maybe over the weekend and Monday, just to get it all sealed in. So Ellis, after I've nearly run him over, is now dancing like a loon to celebrate nearly being run over, no doubt. Right, have a good weekend and week next week, and I'll catch you in next week's coffee vlog. Okay, see ya.